This is Main Street with Gary Allen. Now, here's Gary.
And hello, everybody. Gary Allen with you here on Main Street. We've got a jam-packed show talking about sports with my good friend, fellow Cane, and one of my dear friends in the whole wide world. Of course, Jeff DeForest couldn't be with us today, but Mr. Dave LaMont is, along with my executive producer, Mr. Tommy Stitt. So welcome, Dave.
Thank you. Good to see you guys.
Good to see you. Good to see you. And Tommy joins us, and I'm always happy to have that.
Absolutely.
Where do you want to be? Dave, do you want to begin with the Pat McAfee thing?
Well, there's a million things we can discuss, but the McAfee thing is kind of interesting for, considering what we do and what we have done with our careers and all of that. It's just a way that I don't want to put it like time has passed us by, Gary, but things are so very different in the way that media is presented over the last, let's say, every 10 years. It seems like it undergoes a radical change. And people like Pat McAfee and his style of hosting a show are much more prevalent than they ever used to be. And what it is it's a kind of what they call bro talk or bro code, or where it seems like you can say all these outrageous things. McAfee has, starts every show with this disclaimer not to take him seriously, and it's all we're all out here just trying to have a good time. And that's nothing wrong with that, but he did, and he wasn't the only one. Cross a line a while back, a few months ago, with a student at the University of Mississippi, to the point where her life was turned into a nightmare for quite a while, until everybody realized that the rumors about her were not true. And it went wild for about 72 hours, as the way these things go in our society. If you look at what happened at the Coldplay concert, that's starting to finally cool down. But
but the two people lost their jobs.
Right, they lost their jobs. They actually did something, though. She didn't, and there's the big difference. They were caught. I mean, he I guess is going to try to sue, but I don't know how far that's going to go. But in the case of the young lady, she was accused of doing something and being unfaithful to her boyfriend, basically. And she's very attractive, which always helps or hurts in these situations, depending on and it really spread like crazy, and it gets to McAfee. Now, how he decides this is okay to proceed with, I don't know. And he does, he kind of works for ESPN and he kind of doesn't. So they sort of are like looking the other way.
Yeah.
Although I think eventually somebody probably had to step in and say, listen, pal, we found out this wasn't true. Maybe you found out this all wasn't true. You got to back down, because this woman is getting threatening letters. People are harassing her phone. They're putting notes under her dormitory door. She had to move out and take classes online, in addition to whatever kind of stress it was causing her and her family. People get dragged into this kind of thing. So the problem is now with these shows, and Gary, we're not their audience.
No.
And the mere fact that you and I are sitting here talking about that proves that we're not their audience.
No. And Dave, I've known you a long time, and you and I would have never been his kind of audience. It's not the style. It's not who we are. You worked at ESPN for a while. You were one of the best play-by-play guys I ever knew of. And then I still think you ought to be where. But at any rate, what do you think? They had to put the finger on him at some point. They had to say, hey, come on, Yeah,
I think so, too. And I don't know who arranged the apology. It doesn't matter. He apologized kind of once on the air at a live event, and then apparently met with the family. Now, I'll give him a lot of credit there. He could have just said, screw it. Hey, I'm satisfied. I did my apology. I said, I'm sorry. But he did follow through and meet with the family. Now, whether that was lawyer suggested, whether he did that of his own accord, I don't. In a way, it does. Well, I guess it would matter if he did it of his own accord. But I don't know whether they're hoping, both he and ESPN, like, okay, boy, we're done with that. I just got to be a little bit smarter from here on in. Or there's still going to be something in the way of court action from the family for damages to their reputation, her reputation in particular. Yeah. My point is that in this society now with media, because long ago, speed has beaten truth. A good example, Phil Collins. We've had these unfortunate deaths of some very beloved celebrities in the last few days, and then says, and on top of that, Phil Collins is in hospice. Oh, that's a bummer, except he's not.
No.
Fake news.
He did have knee surgery, and he's not the healthiest guy in the world. He's in his 70s, and I don't even know if he was a big drug user like Ozzy Osbourne was. but Phil Collins is frail. I mean, his last tour, he had to sit. He just saying he couldn't stand.
He can't even play drums anymore.
No, he's retired from drums because it wrecked his back. And therefore, and your back is, the spine is everything. And so all of that. Yeah. So, but that just proves that how these things take off and people run with them until finally somebody actually does some research. And it's the same thing with McAfee. And the same thing with all these shows where you just say whatever you want to say. Yeah. And Barstool's been caught doing this, and they got involved in the story too, and they backed away. Finally, if they back away, that ought to tell you something. But yeah. I remember, Gary, when I started doing sports talk at WQAM, when I did the Jimmy Cephalo and I, Jimmy's now the voice of the Dolphins. Jimmy and I were the first morning show talk show in the history of South Florida, and sports talk show. And I didn't realize my idea of a sports talk show was a little bit like, so let's go back to that Marlins game, the 3-2 count. I didn't think the umpire, and go into it that way. And that's not what they wanted. And it turns out they wanted a model out of Philly, WIP in Philadelphia, which was this kind of guy talk. And I was sort of in the ground floor of that, but I didn't really want to be on the ground floor of that. I wasn't ever comfortable with it. And then Joe Rose moved in, and Joe really took off and ran with it. And I eventually left the station for another opportunity. And I don't think I'd have been comfortable. I'll put it this way. If that opportunity hadn't come along, I would have left anyway. I would have found something else to do because I personally was very uncomfortable with it. Others would move right in. Yeah. And you see where it is now. Joe Rogan is a good example of that. It's a lot of bro talk. Now, he'll have some good guests to his credit, but it is that kind of guys, guy, you're not man enough if you're not talking the way we're talking, what's wrong with that? Why are you so sensitive? Well, I'm not sensitive, but I like facts. And that's what I think is getting run over these days.
And you want to know something? I blame this. And it goes back, to when you were doing what you were doing at QAM, which Uncle Gary does remember those days. I was at IOD, I think, when you were doing that. I'm not sure, but I think I was at IOD when you were there. But I blame two people in particular for ruining morning talk sports radio on television. And I think you know who I'm going to mention. I think both of you do.
I actually don't.
Skip Bayless.
I was going to say Jim Rome.
No, Skip Bayless.
Was Bayless?
And Stephen A. Smith.
Well, that's before those guys were not doing that when I was doing it. When I'm doing it, you're talking about the 90s now.
No, but I'm talking about
Dallas Morning News.
But I'm talking about two guys that really took it and have really destroyed. I mean, you got what's his name, who used to be with Francesa in New York on ESPN doing
Russo.
Mornings? Russo, who I think is retarded. Okay. I don't like the guy. I never liked him or Francesa. Never.
Well,
I'm with you.
We're not New York.
No, but
that was a really specific audience. That's not a show that ever would have worked in Salt Lake City, let's just say.
No, or Miami, or Atlanta.
Miami might have here.
But getting onto it, the supposition that you and I both have is if he was pressured into doing this, does this mean the lawsuit is going to go away?
That's a good question.
Or is he doing this hoping the lawsuit goes away? I watched this show this morning or this afternoon, or when I think it's on at 11 o'clock in the morning. I watched it this morning just to hear what he had to say. And he has toned it down a hair or two from the screaming and yelling and the clapping and the things that he would say. And even the cursing has subsided considerably, considering how much he cursed before during the show.
Yeah, I think we're not going to stuff this genie back in a bottle and go back to the old days of everybody always being right all the time. But I would like you to be right. You can be loud. You can have your own personality. And look, the guy has made a fortune doing this and will continue to do so, as did Bayless, as has Stephen A. Smith. And in those salary he's making.
Oh, yeah.
And, these guys have become successful. So there is a portion of this country that loves this stuff. And I think you can have a healthy debate. My problem is I just want it to be a little classier and a little bit more grown up. It can still be funny.
Agreed.
It can still be silly. You can still try to make people laugh. You can still say outrageous things you don't mean just to get a reaction, which is the part of the Gary that I had the most trouble with.
I
just
agree.
Trying to say things. I didn't want to get tagged like that. I was more, believe it or not, more bashful. I probably am less bashful as I've gotten older. But at that time, when that was going on, it just wasn't my style. and it turns out that leaving there was a smart move. But
Yeah, I don't like it either. I even tell my prospective guests when I'm not doing sports, excuse me, I don't do gotcha questions. I don't attack you. I don't come after you. I might correct you if I think something you said is wrong, but I don't do gotcha stuff. And I treat people with professionalism and respect, because while it may be Main Street with Gary Allen, it's Dave LaMont, it's Tommy on this show. That's the stars of the show, not me.
Right.
I'm just here.
well, that's my hope, is that I don't know if we're ever going to get back. Well, we aren't going to get back to it. It's going to kind of stay like this. But I'm just hoping this is a lesson about running your mouth before realizing what you're saying. It's okay to be funny, but try to be accurate and try not to put people. I mean, we're not talking about somebody who struck out with the bases loaded to lose a World Series. All right, we're talking about somebody's personal life that was stretched out of control, and I really don't know if it's any better for her or not. And she's not even 21 years old. You know, that's another thing. This is somebody.
I think she's
she's 21.
I think she also left Ole Miss for a while.
Well, I know she had to take her classes online.
Yeah.
You know, she just couldn't. And her photo was placed on the internet, and that, you know, so right away, if she happened to be anywhere in Oxford, or, you know, probably couldn't go buy a box of cereal without being recognized. And
Yeah.
that's,
You know,
not
that's the thing.
something-
That's the thing I hate about the internet, and I hate about texting and everything else. There are a lot of whack, sick people out there that will take the littlest thing in the world and make it gigantic just to soothe their little stupid egos. Harold, what do you think's going on here? Nothing's going on. It's, you know, and I'm not going to get political here. I'm only going to bring this up. It's like the Epstein list. I think most of the people that probably be on that list probably only had peripheral in touch with him, maybe through business or something. It doesn't mean that they had anything to do with him on his island or islands. I found out he had 2 of them. So people take the littlest thing in the world and they blow it into proportion to make themselves feel like they're reporting something, because everybody now is like a reporter because of cell phones and the cameras on them.
Exactly, and it's an era that's never going to change. It's not going back. We're not all of a sudden going to stop using phones that have cameras in them and stop trying to tweet or put out information accurately, even if that's your job. You know, even if your job is to report information, those guys get burned too. Sometimes with bad juju and bad information. But I would, you know, the thing I was taught a long time ago is think before you put anything out socially.
Yep.
And because of the damage it could do to others, and just as much to yourself. There are people I know who have screwed themselves out of positions because of their social media stuff. So you have to be incredibly careful with that. And if you want to be controversial, go ahead, but try to be right at the same time if you can.
Exactly.
I still think you can have a bro show. Like, I mean, Dan Patrick with the Danettes, and he does a good job of it.
Yeah, but Dan's a class act.
And then Levitard to a lesser degree, but I still think he can pull off the bro show and still have good sports reporting.
Dan's very bright, and so is Dan. Oddly enough, you know, and Patrick has standards, but Patrick is older to have remembered what things used to be like.
Yeah,
so, and he still respects that. I don't think I don't think he likes to get down in the mud with people, and he doesn't. I think he expects that from his group too.
Yeah. And I think Dan Levitard, you and I both know Dan, and he's a class act, and there's no doubt about it. And I wouldn't expect that from him. They might get a little bit funny sometimes with the different people. I want to switch gears here a little bit, gentlemen. We're coming down to the wire on trade deadline in Major League Baseball, and I just want to kind of go over this not quick, but I'm a National Leaguer. Dave is an American Leaguer, and of course Tommy is Tommy's a
I'm National League. I'm San Diego Padres.
Yeah,
that's where I grew up.
The Marlins have been winning lately, but they've got too much to overcome between Philadelphia and New York, and I think
for the division, but the wild card's open, no?
Yeah. Are they?
I still think Sandy's going to be on the block, though.
That would be a huge mistake.
I think so too.
You know, here you're finally throwing your fans a reason to get excited. This is what you were telling people was going to happen. That hey, just I know we traded this, we traded that, but the pieces we're getting are working out, and they are. So this would just. I mean, I keep saying it's going to be the end of the franchise, and I don't think it will be. But I would be surprised if they did something like that. You know, when you're on a respectable run like that, that would be a major surprise to me.
I don't think anybody's going to. Yeah, there might be teams that want Sandy, but for the most part this year, guys, he hasn't been on, what's his
No,
ERA?
the last game he played pretty well, but up until that point, he was it was a slow start, and had some injuries too.
They're
Don't you
6
think
out
that-
of the wild card picture, by the way, 6 out.
Okay. But don't you think you need a wider picture, a clearer picture of him before you make any kind of trade for him, unless it doesn't cost you anything? Maybe excuse me, a minor leaguer or something, or cash consideration.
Well, I mean, his stats are awful right now. They're just really bad. So I don't know anyone's going to want him. I mean, I just looked it up, 77 strikeouts, 39 walks.
Wow.
ERA is literally 6.66. So I don't know if he's the guy that you're looking at anymore with here. I don't know if you're buyers. I don't know if you just kind of stay the course. If somebody offers you something that's ridiculous, maybe you take it. But you're only
Right.
4 games under 500. You are in the middle of a chunk of people who are a bunch of games out of the wild card, but it's not even August yet. You have
Yeah.
2 months, and if you stay hot like this, you can make a run at the wild card. So and they have a Yankees team next. I believe it's the Yankees, who are weak right now. They're having a very hard time, and they've lost their best guy for an unknown period of time. I haven't heard how long Judge is going to be out. So you have an opportunity to get pretty close to 500, and then from there. So I'm not saying it's impossible, obviously, but I think it'd be dumb.
Last year, when they did the wholesale selling away everybody at this time last year, I thought, well, that's going to be it for the Marlins for a number of years. But like you said, in just a few minutes ago, it has worked out with the people they brought in. And, I'm not a big Marlins fan, but I wish them well. I hope they do well, because it's great for the South Florida community. I don't know, Tommy, is anybody going to the games yet?
No, man, they're like 5,000-6,000 people. Now the Yankees games will have some people there for sure.
Yeah.
Didn't they do well for the Pirates? Didn't the Pirates?
Yeah, because I think Skeens wasn't he the first? He pitched the first game of that series.
Yeah, and I
Everybody
know
loves that kid.
They did well when the Phillies were there, because that's their arch nemesis, more or less. That's the pitcher that everybody wants, but I don't think the Pirates are going to give him up for a song. That's for sure.
No, I don't see them giving him up at all. I mean, you talk about giving up. At that point, they should just pack it up and move the team to Charlotte or some other place, and get them out of there, or Nashville or wherever, some other town that might accept them. So I don't think they're going to do that. That would be, even though, and I know it makes sense maybe from a baseball perspective, and I guarantee you they've thought about it because they're terrible outside of him. But no, I don't think.
Yeah,
so.
that's tough to give that guy up.
In the American League, Toronto looks like I don't know. Is anybody going to catch Toronto?
Part of me hopes so, but part of me hopes not. They're because I despise the Yankees, so I don't want them to win the division.
Then you must have loved my Phillies over the weekend. Then
yeah, but the Yankees have got really sunk. I'm surprised at that. They looked like they were going to take off and hide, and then Toronto, speaking of a team that has made all the right moves, and they do have some very, very good young talent there.
Oh yeah,
and they get the Orioles, who have won a couple, but that was Colorado. And Baltimore has been better, but they hurt themselves so badly at the beginning of the year that they can't dig out of that hole. So all they can do is maybe spoil somebody's hopes and hope that they have fewer injuries and better starting pitching, which is their biggest weakness. And Boston, they had this long winning streak, so the Red Sox are somebody who also has to be looked at as a American League wild card contender. Cleveland, I don't know if you just saw their ace reliever from last year, Clase, has been indefinitely suspended. Administratively for potential sports betting.
Yeah, and
his
we've
name
got
come up in trade talks too.
Yeah, Main Street here with you, Gary Allen, Dave LaMont, Tommy Stitt, who's my executive producer, and always happy to talk baseball. The Tigers are doing very well.
Not now.
Well, they were.
They ain't now.
Thanks, Tommy. You can,
They are in a rough patch. The good news for them is they built up a big lead. It's like 8 over Cleveland. There's no other team in that division with a winning record, but they have now. Right now, they couldn't hit one of those Little League softball teams I've been watching on ESPN. Their offense is in the toilet. It's really shocking since before the break and after the break. And I just spent a lot of time in Michigan with the PBA 50 tour. Yeah. So this is when it all started. Maybe it was me. Maybe now that I'm out of there, they'll start playing better. But
rise again.
They
Yeah,
hold on.
Lamont's out of town. Let's start playing baseball.
They did score. Oh, here's a good example. They scored 10 yesterday and beat Toronto. But before then, they had wow. Yeah, that was their first win since the 20th. They have won 2 games since July 9th.
Well, every team goes into a slump, Dave. You know that.
Well, they weren't looking like it. They looked pretty slump-proof. People up there were just madly in love with what was going on, understandably, and I think they still are. But
Yeah.
I don't know whether this now means they're going to pick it back up and get back to playing the kind of ball that got them this big fat lead, because they are vulnerable for the first time in a couple of months.
Yeah, yeah.
I think the better race is that one in the NL Central with the Brewers and the Cubs.
Yeah, that's going to be back and forth. I was going to get to that. The National League East, I think it's going to be between Philadelphia and the Mets.
Yeah.
Maybe the Marlins will get in the wild card. I think the Mets and the Phillies will just go back and forth. I know what I'm about to say. You're going to go, yeah, but you're a Philly fan. I think the Phillies are definitely better pitching-wise than the Mets at this particular point in time.
Yeah, right. Go ahead, please.
Even though Wheeler, did not win yesterday, but and lost, but overall, the Phillies' rotation is good. The problem is coming out of the pen.
And Cubs and Brewers are tied. So we're over 100 games in now, and you got 2 teams tied going into the last third of the season. So, and close geographically and all that. So that should be fun.
Yeah, it should be interesting. And also the Reds, if Cincinnati can put something together and they might be able to squeeze into the wild card. And of course, there's the Dodgers, who can afford everything on the planet. The Padres and the Giants, they're battling out west. I don't know what to do. I mean, a lot of people this morning, I was watching MLB Network. I love to watch that program. They still think Philadelphia is better than everybody else. I don't agree with that. I think the Dodgers are just, come on, whatever they do in the deadline, it's going to cost them money, but they've got it. They've got deep pockets, and they're going to do what they're going to do, which brings up a question that I want to ask both of you guys. If you were going to start a Major League Baseball team tomorrow, okay, you have your front office, you have your manager, and you have all things kind of in place, except you haven't selected a player yet. Who would you want? Ichiro?
You're talking about active players or
active player? Just active
Ichiro.
players.
Ichiro. You mean Shohei?
Yeah, excuse me, Shohei Ichiro. I'm thinking of they're thinking
you
want to talk about with each. Yeah.
But that was pretty funny when he said that Samson was there, and he said, back when you guys called me in 2015, I didn't even know you had a team. Meanwhile, we'd already won the World Series twice.
Which is
hilarious.
Would you like Judge to start? Would you like Shohei or some other player from some other team?
I'll take Ohtani.
Okay.
I'm perfectly happy with that.
Tommy?
I'd go with the guy that's leading in home runs, Cal Raleigh.
And I would go with a catcher. I'd start with a catcher, a guy who
Raleigh.
can handle.
Yeah, he's a catcher. And how about that kid from the A's that had that 6-hit game, 4 home runs, 19 total bases?
Yeah. I want somebody like JT, okay, because he can handle a rotation. He can handle a bullpen. No, not James.
Justin Thomas?
No, JT Realmuto from the Phillies. I would take somebody like that.
Starting your team with him?
Wow.
I would. No, now maybe not the
next
JT
Marlin
today, but I would want someone like him or JT himself, because he can handle a rotation probably as well as anybody in baseball.
Yeah, but I realize there is a thing in baseball called strength up the middle, which I'm a big believer in. But I think in this case, I'll take the most unique and arguably most productive guy out there. So I'll stick with my choice.
Okay.
How do you play that guy in the playoffs? If he's going to pitch, Dave? Like, does he just not start those days that he's going to pitch, or does he leave?
He ain't not hitting for me.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But then you have to switch the DH, right? You have to substitute another DH for him, and he comes in as a relief pitcher, not as a starter.
Right. Nah, he's been, and I don't know how much more he's going to pitch. He's just getting these very short starts.
Yeah.
But they leave him in the lineup. He stays in the lineup. So they've worked it out. But so far so good with the pitching. As far as injury goes, that's, I think, the biggest concern of all. They have enough talent to overcome if he doesn't have a good day, and he's only pitching an inning or two at a time, and he's still knocking the hell out of the ball. So
Yeah.
Right.
no, I'm going to do that. Plus, I'm selling tickets. That's another thing that's going to help me.
Mhm.
There are definitely some other great ball players out there. You mentioned some already, but Raleigh just sort of came out of nowhere. We
Yeah.
don't know if he can do this again. Real Muto is on the back nine.
Oh,
I think.
absolutely. Oh,
So
absolutely.
starting a team with him to me seems a stretch.
Well, but he would bring he would bring the maturity of
Tell you what,
all
Gary,
years.
I got a better idea. Why don't you join my fantasy football league?
Right. Right.
You don't
sound like the guy
Then
who
you only
would
have to
draft-
beat 10 guys.
Yeah, you sound like the guy who would draft Justin Tucker in the first round. Then I would have to get in the chat and go, "Hey, Gary, I got some news for you about this guy." So you're welcome, please, anytime.
Oh, I don't. I don't even follow any of that fantasy stuff at all whatsoever. One last thing before we get to your picks on who do you think may be a potential big trade here in the in.
Ooh, I don't have any
during this-
answers for that, but
Yeah, that's a wild west.
please continue.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Okay. Little League Baseball. This I found so funny. A Little League baseball player in New Jersey was thrown out of the game for flipping a bat.
Right.
I saw it and I went, are you throwing him out because he's imitating Major League Baseball players or college players? What are you throwing him out for? And I've still got no reasonable explanation unless you have, Dave. of
Oh,
why
I
they
have the
threw
whole
him.
story.
Go ahead.
Oh, this went to court.
I
Did you
didn't
not know?
No.
That's
Oh,
pretty
yes.
fast to go to court. Didn't it just happen like last week?
So he's somewhere in New Jersey. They're in a playoffs. They're trying to get to Williamsport. And he throws his bat. The umpire throws him out of the game, and the kid gets suspended. So his
Indefinitely or
family-
1-game suspension?
Well,
What
I
was
think it was a 1-game suspension. They go to court, and the suspension is overturned. And one of their arguments was they showed a Little League promotional video with kids flipping bats in the promotional video.
Mm.
Now, the umpire they were arguing that the umpire had the discretion under some rules there about games, not even gamesmanship, like causing mayhem or something like that. And the umpire determined that's what it was. So the umpire, in his or her opinion, I don't know, it doesn't matter, tossed him for that. Then they come in and suspend him. They rushed this through. I don't know how they did it. Maybe because the game was coming up. The funny thing is, the next game they played, he doesn't start the game. He's cleared. He goes in and strikes out in his one plate appearance, and they get run ruled 10-0.
Ouch.
And ultimately, whether this team ever sees Williamsport, I haven't the slightest idea. But they kind of took Little League and flipped it on its ear and said, "Wait a minute, you guys." And Little League, to their credit, just said, "Okay, we accept it. We're not going to fight it anymore. We just want to see our kids show good sportsmanship." But if you're advertising it, and then that you're just a stinking hypocrite at that point. So I think they had to eat it on that one.
Yeah, yeah. I just thought it was like, are you kidding me? The kid is he's being a kid, for God's sake. See, he's following what he sees. I didn't know about the promotional video at all whatsoever, but I just thought that stinks. I mean, I played Little League baseball. I think, Dave, you did, didn't you?
No, I never did. I was horrible.
Tommy?
So I never even tried.
Yeah, I did, and I coached Little League also.
Yeah, I did some coaching at a different level of Little League. We don't have Little League here because our teams that we send up there would take a Little League team and squash it like a tiny ant. As a matter of fact, my hot take is I don't like I don't think the baseball is very good at all. The fences are too close. They have all these rules about stealing. It's soft, very soft baseball, very soft.
Yeah. Now, I'm going to switch gears again. We're going to go into the NFL. Of course, they're in training camp now. And Sedora Sanders has been getting himself into some trouble. He was already pulled over twice for speeding, going anywhere from 90 to 100 miles an hour. He also got a wake-up call that on the depth chart, he's at the bottom, which is, not
fifth or third.
He's
Should be third. Fourth?
I think he's fourth. I think he was third, and they moved him down because he got pulled over the last time for going 100 miles an hour.
Then Pickett just got injured too, didn't he?
Yeah, he just moved up because Kenny Pickett has got a hamstring injury.
Yeah.
I don't see him starting at the beginning of the year unless there's more injuries, but I do see him getting a chance to play. And I think
You feel the
Cleveland's
same way about Gabriel too? I think he's just as good.
that's
Probably.
the other kid, Dylan Gabriel.
Yeah.
I don't. Gosh, I kind of lost sight of him after he. That guy's lucky to still be playing with a knee injury he suffered when he was at UCF. Look, if you're going to make him that pick, you have to give him an opportunity at some point outside of what's about to start happening in the preseason. So if you want to start with Flacco because he's safe, and you're not going to be that good anyway, okay. But I think at some point, as long as he performs well in practice, he's got to get an opportunity to play. He has to. Whether he's good or not, we'll find out. Let's find out. Let's all find out. Otherwise, why did you do this? Why did you draft him into a team that's not going to be very good anyway?
Good question too. Main Street here with you. Dave LaMont and Tommy Stitt is my guest. Gary Allen with you.
And a quick update. This is another thing you might have missed. I just read this 2 minutes ago. You saw what happened with his dad, right?
No, what happened to?
What they just announced a little while ago at Colorado that Dion had bladder cancer and had surgery and is now considered cancer-free.
Oh, good.
So I knew
he had
even
part of his toe cut off, right, or operated on that was removed.
Over the last couple of years, his health has been very, very shaky. And so this, hopefully, will be the end of it for Dion in hospitals for a while. So the good news is he'll be able to coach this year without that hanging over his head.
Yeah. The GM for the Chicago Bears has indicated that he would like to see Caleb Williams throw for 70% pass catches. And Caleb said, I think I can throw for 4,000 yards. Now, America, I lived in Chicago. Tommy, didn't you live in Chicago?
Yeah, I did.
They have never had a Chicago Bears quarterback that threw for 4,000 yards ever in the history of the team, even way back when. And 70% completion is asking Dave a lot.
Yeah, in other words, you're asking him to be Jaden Daniels, so we know that can't happen. So
yeah. But what do you think? I mean, are they just hyping it up for the season? I mean,
I wouldn't be hyping it up. That would be like throwing a lot of expectations on him. Remember that their guy came from Detroit. Their new head coach came from Detroit. 70% is doable. It has been done before. With the rules having changed, it's easier for receivers now. Pass rushers have to be a little bit more careful than they used to be about taking shots at QBs, especially when it's over with. I think I'm just looking it out. Joe Burrow's done it. Aaron Rodgers has done it. Geno Smith nearly did it. I mean, if you round up, Geno Smith did do it in 2022. 4,000 yards isn't what it used to be. That's the other thing. We have more games than ever before, too. Don't forget, you're getting 17 now. So if he's able to achieve that, it's not as like when Marino first started doing it. Or I remember the first guy to ever do it. I can't think of it right off the top of my head.
It wasn't Marino, I don't think.
No, it wasn't. I can't remember. But you can do it. The issue is, the weather there gets a little swirly. Once the calendar starts turning, it can be an issue there in Chicago.
Also, Dave, we're talking about the Bears.
Yeah.
I mean,
they have some weapons.
Yeah, very few.
By the way, I'm now looking at Joe Montana, 70% in 1989. Steve Young did it. 70%. Drew Brees a couple of times. Sam Bradford did it. Bradford did it in 2016. Drew Brees did it like 4 times. Led the league in 70% passing.
Was Bradford with the Lions at the time?
Vikings.
He was with the Vikings.
Yeah.
Justin Jefferson.
What was the highest for Brady and Manning?
I don't have that number. I don't know if they've ever did it. Peyton, I think, got close.
Brady 52-35 in 2021
for yardage.
Yeah. Drew Brees 51-77 in 2011.
Yeah, and it's always been kind of odd how the best 1,000-yard runner and stuff like that, they weren't for a long time making the playoffs necessarily. Here's a question for you, because you mentioned Aaron Rodgers. Are the Pittsburgh Steelers going to make Aaron Rodgers better this year, or does Aaron Rodgers make the Pittsburgh Steelers better this year? And keep in mind, the Steelers weren't awful to begin with anyway.
Yeah, they weren't very good though.
No, but they weren't awful.
They had to do something. Yeah, but they're a lot. This is the first time I read somewhere the teams are forecasting Mike Tomlin to have a losing record. That they just don't think the offense is there. Pickens leaves and goes to Dallas. They lose a good receiver. Their running game was just, I'm not sure. I mean, it can't get much worse for Rodgers. And he had occasional good games with the Jets, but not very many. And he's not gotten any younger. He looks like he takes good care of himself. I won't argue that, but I just don't know. And I don't know if their defense is as good either as it has been in the past. That's, that sometimes they would survive. They did get DK Metcalf, who's
they
good,
signed
but
Watt.
Not, they got Watt back. That's going to help their defense quite a bit. That I can't dispute. But I just don't know about that offense. I'm actually trying to look at their depth chart to see if I'm leaving somebody out that is worth it. But I don't know about this team this year. If they're good, it may not be Rodgers who makes them good. It may be their defense.
Well, besides who they play, Cincinnati, Cleveland, what does their schedule look like? They play Baltimore. Oh, there's the team that constantly people are saying, oh, they're going to be better this year. They're going to be better this year. That brings up another question. Is Baltimore going to challenge the Bills? Is this the Bills' year? They get past Kansas City. Is Kansas City not what they were?
Kansas City isn't what they were.
But does Kansas City still pull it out of the hat? And does Baltimore find a way to get over the hump? And the same as the Buffalo Bills. Do they find a way to get over the hump? Is this the Detroit Pistons beating the Boston Celtics, finally getting over the hump?
It's a wonderful question. I mean, to me, Kansas City is depending so much on people like Rashee Rice, who may well be starting the year suspended. You're expecting Xavier Worthy to improve. You're expecting Travis Kelce to hang on for another year. You're looking for your running game to be better and Isaiah Pacheco to be better and healthier. And, their offense last year, let's face it, the last 2 years, they've resembled the Patriots to me because when Brady was near the end, because he might have had one reliable receiver and their explosiveness was gone. And their running game was very average. And they were surviving off Brady pulling it out of their fire or maybe coming through. That's what they have been. So it wasn't a surprise to see them get knocked off because, it's just not the same team. It's not the same, we're going to throw it deep. We're throwing it deep. All this, that's gone.
Yeah.
And they tried, and they tried to bring it back with Xavier Worthy, but it didn't work out the first year anyway.
But the Bills have got to be favored in the East, Tommy.
Come on. Yeah. No, my understanding is they're going to be favored in every game they play this year.
So the whole thing is, do they overcome themselves, those foolish mistakes that they make late in the game, like all teams do who eventually don't get over the hump, but then eventually figure out we're killing ourselves. Who was it? Dandy Don Meredith who coined the phrase, we have found the enemy. It is us.
I think that's going way back.
Or was that Meredith? Or was that Howard?
No, I think that was somebody in the literary world. You got me bouncing all over the place. So you asked me to check the Steelers schedule. Well, you do. The Steelers schedule is Jets, Seahawks, Pats, Vikings. Then they play Browns, Bengals. Then they play the Packers, the Colts, the Chargers, then the Bengals, the Bears, the Bills. So they've drawn the NFC Central. Ravens, Dolphins on a Monday night, which looks like it's going to be here. Then they go play the Lions, which ought to be very interesting. Then the Browns, they wrap it up with the Ravens. Baltimore is almost the bigger heartbreak because you've had literally the MVP practically of the last 2 or 3 years. And then some weird thing happens to that guy in the playoffs. And all of a sudden, he's no longer the, automatic 5,000 yards a year between running and passing kind of guy. And he makes mistakes or they make mistakes or, their defense isn't as good. It's just that to me is just about as bad as Buffalo.
Well, they have I don't know if he's a defensive coordinator or he's doing the linebackers or whatever, but Chuck Pagano is now coaching with his brother there in Baltimore.
Oh, I didn't know his brother was in Baltimore.
Yeah, his brother's the head coach.
His brother's John Harbaugh is the head coach.
No, what am I thinking of?
I don't know.
It wasn't Pagano's brother a coach in Baltimore for a while? I think
I'm going to look that up too.
I think his brother was
an interesting man today. You are putting me everywhere.
Pagano's a big McAfee guest. He's always on the Pat McAfee show.
Well, that's because he was living in Indianapolis.
I don't know. Is Chuck still coaching?
Yeah, Pagano.
He had been in Baltimore before.
Yeah.
He is still, he's still there. They
Yeah.
list him as a senior defensive assistant and secondary coach.
And he also coached at the University of Miami for a while.
Well, he was the secondary coach there, as a matter of fact. So he's still around. He comes back with that, but I don't know about any relationships. No, the Ravens. One of the things that have made the Ravens successful is they don't panic. They keep things the same. I'm a big fan of that. It's one of the things I think I like about the Steelers is the lack of head coaches instead of changing them every 3 minutes. We'll see what the Jets do with their new head coach. They seem to actually be almost normal this year. Yeah. So if I was a Jets fan, that'd be the first thing I'd want was like a normal season with no BS. And if we win 7 games, that's fine, but show me some improvement. If I
Patriots have a new head coach. Patriots should
be better. You have a young quarterback who made some good noises last year in Drake May. They drafted well at running back. They drafted offensive line. Certainly not a team that I would put in the playoffs, but certainly it should be better than last year.
Yeah, Titans are really in love with our guy. I mean, They really love him. He shows up at 5:00 in the morning and he doesn't leave until everybody else is gone. Watches film. He works out with the players on their own, even after practice. I mean, he is just he has this drive to be the best that he can. Probably stemming back to where nobody wanted him when he came out of high school. So, I mean, God bless him. I want him to be successful. I want my boy Estrepo to do well with Tennessee as well. And it looks like he's doing very well up there. The Miami Dolphins, a hometown team for all three of us, in a sense. As Tua goes, so do they.
Yeah, and you just wonder how many games is he going to miss? Can he go through a whole year? They are different when he's around. Although when he did come back, their offense changed. They also kind of turned into Kansas City light, and they stopped going deep. And you have weapons to go deep. Why didn't they go deep more often? Were they hiding something? And they while A-Chain is a terrific weapon, without a deeper passing game, I don't know how dangerous they are. And they've undergone a lot of changes defensively. Some apparently are good, some apparently are not good. And that's just, a lot of people aren't picking them this year, which might be the best thing possible. Well, a year ago, we were talking about them unseating Buffalo and making a run on the playoffs, and we know how that turned out. And so now, no one's talking about that now, and maybe there's something that we're overlooking that we spent, expected too much last year. I don't know.
Tommy, what do you hear?
I think Baltimore's the team to beat, man, in the AFC.
Well,
and I think Philly's going to be right there again. I think it's going to be Philly against the Ravens.
Philly's a good safe choice.
Super Bowl.
Philly's a safe choice in the NFC. I think Washington hopefully will still be good.
Yeah.
Minnesota's got questions at quarterback. Atlanta's intriguing they're going to turn it over to Penix and see what he can do with it. And he did pretty well the last couple of games.
Yeah.
But I don't know how good they're going to. I think the Chargers are intriguing.
Yep. Harbaugh always has a good tough team.
Harbaugh wins, and they play in his image. And so you know what you're going to get. You just have to stop it. Kansas City is intriguing only because we want to see if they're alive or dead.
Yeah.
Are we going to put dirt on these guys, or are they going to figure out a way to get back to being explosive?
It's incredible with Mahomes, though. I mean, when you want to say, okay, this is not their year. They're going to be competitive. They may even make the playoffs, but this is not their year. And they fool you. They absolutely fool you time in and time out.
They're secretly good on defense.
Yeah.
And they're bend but don't break. But they're very good at not breaking in midfield or when you get to around that 30, 40-yard line. They have a very experienced coordinator. They've got some major talent there. That's been, I think, the side of the ball that's kept them playoff competitive the last 2 years. It's just not the show that it was 3-4 years ago. That's not there. May never come back either. I mean, if Worthy doesn't pan out and become the deep threat they need, and if Rashee Rice can get his head together, then they can be. But without it, and eventually they're going to have to find a replacement for Kelsey. And I'm sure they've thought about that a million times more than we have. And so they've got to come up with something, but eventually he will not be effective anymore.
I think wouldn't you assume, Dave and Tommy, that most teams are looking, no matter who you talk about, a year or two from now, they're already looking at the quarterbacks that'll be coming out of college next year or the year after that, or the running backs or the wide receivers. Aren't they probably thinking, and they're playing a chess game, thinking 2-3 moves down the line when it comes to drafts, maybe free agents that may be available when it comes to personnel as each year goes by?
Free agents, yes. Salary cap, yes. Draft, hard to say. I don't doubt that they're paying attention. I don't know if they go 2 years ahead or 3 or 1. That's a good question. I can't give you a straight answer on that, but I'm positive that there's free agent boards all over every conference room and every coach's office in the NFL, because you're looking ahead at, hey, geez, you know what, our guard play is really not good, but you know what, good news is there's a guy in Detroit who's going to be available, and if they don't re-sign him, this is the guy we ought to make a move for, or something like that. Yes, that goes on all the time.
Yeah. Another year, another problem, another drama with America's team, as always. Oh yeah.
Talking
Oh,
about
but
Micah Parsons not getting paid.
Are we going to waste time talking about these clowns?
No, I just wanted to make that statement that it's
Okay.
another year, it's another high drama, and then of course with the New York Jets, the toes nose.
I don't get what is that.
Is
Wait.
Justin Fields? Is Justin Fields
Did
big
they
toe going to
sign
be
him?
No?
Justin Fields. I'm thinking of Justin Tucker. He's
No.
back at practice
Already?
Yeah,
They weren't sure whether he was going to be
he's
able to
back.
be available or not.
he's back.
Wow, unbelievable.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Unbelievable.
Things are kind of normal there. They need to be boring
Yeah.
more than any team, maybe in the entire NFL. The Jets need to be boring.
Well, they certainly aren't winners. That's for sure. Overall,
But you know what? If you're seriously a Jets fan, and I know there's people out there, I don't know what your standards are for this year, but you have a guy who appears to be competent, who's coming from a winning situation. He's a low-key guy. He's not a celebrity. Of course, you had a fairly low-key head coach, but you went all in on the celebrity quarterback last year, and that didn't work. 2 years ago, it didn't work. This year, it didn't work. So why don't you have a nice, boring year? Let's see if Justin Fields can truly play. You're not going to the Super Bowl. You're probably not going to make the playoffs unless 10 of the teams in the AFC drop out.
Yeah.
So just have a nice, quiet year. Go ahead and win your 6. Win your 7. Have a nice win someplace. Maybe you steal one on the road against a better team, or maybe you beat somebody who's half asleep on a 4:00 game on Sunday. You beat them at the ballpark, and you get a couple things to hang your hat on, and then you start getting better. That would be my wish for those out there who are Jets fans. I don't have particular hatred for the Jets. I actually admire anybody who's still a fan who stuck with them. But be dull. The less I hear about the Jets this year is probably good news.
I never been a Jets fan for some obvious reasons, but it is what it is. Let's switch gears again with the 10 minutes we got left and go into college football. ESPN came out with their computer predictions for the college football championship this year. Let's see if you gentlemen agree with this or disagree. Texas, number 1. Ohio State, number 2. Alabama, number 4. Ohio State, number 3. Georgia, number 2. Excuse me. Alabama, number 4. Penn State, number 5. Oregon, number 6. Clemson, 7. Let's see here. Notre Dame, number 8. The Canes, number 9. And Texas A&M, number 10. And they've got a 2.3 chance of even, maybe making the playoffs, period. Agree, disagree?
It's the same teams every year, with maybe A&M blended in there to be different. And Miami always seems to get a lot of preseason love, and then the season starts and things go right in the toilet. So I'll hold my breath on that.
Yeah.
I can see Clemson being good this year. They have an unusual situation that their quarterback has actually stayed and has improved, which is very old-fashioned. And then all the rest are like, you could have mixed those around in any order, Gary, and tell me pick 10 teams, and I would have gotten 9 of them. I probably would have picked everybody but A&M. There's a sameness to college football that threatens my interest in it, especially with the way the playoff format and the power of the SEC and the Big Ten trying to become SEC Junior and force this Big Ten, 16-person model on us that favors the Big Ten and the SEC. That stuff is a massive turnoff, at least to me. But yeah, there's no variety anymore in college football. It's pretty much the same teams every year. And when we do get a variety in there, like Boise State last year, we then complain or Indiana, we then complain. Well, wait, don't you want anything new now? So okay,
Yeah.
fine. You get the same. And I hate to say this, but at least for me, because I'm not involved in the sport anymore, my interest is waning.
Really?
Yes, because nothing's new. They change the playoff format every year. They never give anything a chance to sit still. And the greed is off the charts, and it isn't even the players anymore. It's the commissioners. And now they've got the Big Ten coaches smoking the same dope the commissioner is smoking. And the commissioner came from the NFL, and basically he wants an NFL model.
Right.
And now you've got teams like Indiana who are dropping all pretense of any kind of non-conference schedule that has any kind of power to it at all. They're all going to play lower level schools because they're worried about, we have a loss against a good school. I think the sport has been irreparably damaged. Now, am I still going to watch? Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
But am I going to watch? By the time we got to the end of the playoffs, it took so long that I had lost interest.
Yeah, I lost interest when what they did to us, meaning you and I went to the U. What they did
to us that they didn't do.
No, well, I mean, Miami caused their own stumbling and bumbling at the end. I mean, you lose to Syracuse, come on, and you're supposed to win that game. Give me a break. I mean, Miami, but it could end for Miami right off the first game. I don't know what the quarterback situation is at Notre Dame. I know they're going to be playing a couple of young guys, but it could be one where the luckily
it's either CJ Carr or Minchie. Those are the two guys competing for the job.
And luckily though, Tommy, it's going to be the game's in Miami, right? I think David isn't the game here in Miami.
Yes, it is.
But one final.
So they'll actually have some bodies and seats.
Yeah, they will. One final question before we get the heck out of here with about 4 minutes to go. Is this whole college football season going to be all about Bill Belichick?
No. Some of it will
Manning, maybe.
Archie,
you get a lot of Manning for Heisman stuff. That's a great point. Great point.
Wonderful point, Tommy. Yes.
That's going to be big. Belichick will be big. But if they go 7-6, I guess it's interesting either way for a while to see if he can come back and coach. I think this year is going to be, I don't know what else it's going to be about. I don't know what the big headlines are this year, other than, more money for the players.
Yeah.
What's the playoff situation going to look like? It's going to be some of the stuff that we don't even know. I mean, since we can't predict or we don't know yet what the on the field headlines are going to be, we have to kind of, swallow speculation. But I think Manning is a good one because he's got to be the preseason Heisman favorite just based on his name alone. I can't remember a guy walking in who's had so few starts, and when he gets now that he's clearly the number one guy there, who's just going, okay, buddy, go out there, win us a Heisman. And while you're at it, see if we can get a title too. Interesting.
Well, the Clemson people are putting Cade up there as a Heisman.
Oh yeah, I could see that. I could absolutely see that. Cade Klubnik, yeah, absolutely. Kleber Lang, absolutely. Do we have time for the topic that I put as first among topics to discuss today, or are you gonna shun me?
No, you can. No, I don't.
I think a more interesting story than any of this stuff is: will the WNBA players get their revenue?
Oh,
and what could happen to? Yes, I did.
No, the one you put up number one was Apple TV.
Well, and we don't have time for that now, and we don't have time for some of the other stuff.
No.
Yeah, Gary, I'm going to go back and look. I'm going to waste our time, but here's all right. So we have had no progress. Yeah, right there.
Okay. All right. I'll go back. I listen.
For the following reasons. Number one, we've never really had a women's sports league in the history of this country go after their league before, because no other women's sports league has ever been in a better position than the WNBA is right now. What interested me is when this news broke during the All-Star break, a lot of people bitched. You know who did? Men. Now they're losing money.
Yeah.
Okay. Right. Only guys complained about this, by the way.
Yeah.
You get what you're worth, and right now they've never been worth more. Plus, franchises have never been worth more. It now costs $250 million to join the league, and we've got expansion going on like every year for the next 2 or 3 years. Right. Just 2 years ago, it was $50 million for the Golden State Valkyries to get in. Your TV ratings are way up. Your revenue is way up. You're about to start a $2.2 billion television contract. TV money usually pays for salaries. Go ask the NFL.
Yeah.
So this is their chance. Whether they will work it out, I don't know. And they're going to take a giant gamble. The biggest mistake that could happen is if they are either locked out or they strike. And please, you morons out there, do not confuse lockout and strike. They are different.
Two different things. Yeah.
Right. So there's no solution, and I don't know when they're going to talk again, but it's really interesting to see the players taking a stand to try to get what they're worth. They're not asking for $10 million a year. They're asking for their piece of the revenue. That's normal. That's what every player gets in all these other sports. And theirs is fairly low.
Yeah.
Now, in the past, this was a money-losing proposition, but the NBA keeps going. So I don't think the NBA is going out of business anytime soon. So I don't know why all of a sudden everybody started caring about this.
And I
do know
wish
why, actually. But
I wish the fellow players would leave Clark alone instead of headhunting on her.
Well,
if it wasn't
right.
for her,
That's
they wouldn't
part of
have.
it. Well, that's a lot of it. That's part of it. This is one of the strangest leagues I've ever seen in my life, and it's not very well run. They're having trouble with officiating. They're having trouble with the commissioner. They're having trouble with some of the owners, et cetera.
It's jealousy because it's just jealousy. She's a great player. She's a good player, or rather good, however you want to put it. Yeah. And she's the whole reason why this has all been focused on them, why they're doing better, why they're flying commercial, why they're doing better.
No, they're not flying commercial. They're not flying commercial.
They're flying
20-something, right. They're 20-something years. You might have run into them depending on when you live at 7 a.m. in the airport, in zone 5 trying to get into their next game.
Yeah.
And now here they are with their own airplanes.
Yeah.
So there's a lot more to go into, and I know we're out of time regarding her, and a lot has been said about it already. But I'm just fascinated by how this is all going to turn out. If the WNBA is smart, maybe we'll have some news the next time we chat. But I'm hoping to do the smart thing when the season's ending, and they come up with a plan that makes everybody happy. It's going to have to be compromised. Every great deal has it, and for the sake of the sport, while it's hot, and while it's providing a lot of young girls some opportunities to dream about what they'd like to be with themselves and be like this player or that player. Never have we seen a women's league have more power.
Exactly. David, thank you. Tommy, thank you. To all of you out there, thank you. Until we meet again, take care of yourselves, and God bless.